that goes. So text 086 8104 106. We were talking about people and their struggles on the air last week. And we had some very, very strong calls on. One chap was on air with me on Thursday and Friday, telling his story. And the first story was being told on the Thursday. There was very negative reaction on social media to it. And he came back on air again on Friday morning. There was Alistair Hart. And while in conversation with Alistair Hart, I was telling him the story of Graham, Craig, Ruth. I read an article in the Echo regarding his own issues in life and how he's turned it around. You look fantastic, my man. Says, I looking up to see you for the first time. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
I was telling him about the incident involving you in school, where some gang came in and locked the toilet doors and gave you a beating.
Yeah.
If that was all I could think of was my own son. You know what I mean? And when you have kids, you'll think the same way if you ever do. It was a horrible thing that happened to you.
Yeah, it was. I remember it was something that started outside in the schoolyard, and for me, I thought the toilet was an escape, and unfortunately, the same lads followed me in, and they was kicked in the door of the cubicle. And so it's actually it's 8 years since the incident. It's just going kind of back and retracking everything.
I hate to bring it up again.
Yeah, it has, and it's been a tough weekend. It's just to get messages then off them on social media since I've done the piece. I think it's absolutely hypocritical. So that they think they can sorry, we were only ever having a bit of a mess with you, or so we never meant for it to lead to that. But and then you have in a situation like that, but they're on a pedestal at the time, because I thought people find it funny, if they in school, you have them cool kids and they were the cool kids, and what kind of it's more for me is I was 3 years younger, they were all in sixth year at the time, so
sixth year secondary.
So for
and
me,
you were a junior cert.
I was junior cert. For me, their only focus should have been doing their leaving cert. So they absolutely it was February that time of year, you're doing your mocks, you're doing everything. So
did they hurt you?
Yeah. It was, and for Ego it was a continuous thing as well with the same group of people for a while. So it's just something. I remember being in the toilet. I thought when I was in the cubicle and the door was locked, it was me as much as everything that was going on outside. They were spitting in over me, and so everything. Even some of them started to go to the toilet on the ground in the cubicle. So I just remembered the door is locked, so I'm fine. And next of all, when that door came in,
I kicked it in.
Kicked it in, yeah.
How old were you?
I was probably around 15, 16.
And what happened after that?
For me, it's this weekend has really released an anger with the school I was in, because I feel one thing that's actually just going around in my head at the moment is when, as I went home that evening, I kind of had to,
well, were you bruised and physically hurt?
Oh yeah, I was, and physically, because I was covered in, I was after a lot of people spitting in over the toilet, just so you can only imagine the
spit and wee, and then
they weed on the ground, so. But I kind of came into the cubicle I was in.
Did you end up on the ground? Were they beating
No,
you?
I didn't. They came in, and thankfully then a substitute, a teacher, they usually have a teacher that's on covering breaks, eventually kind of knew there was something going on in the toilets and came to the toilets then, and thankfully then they kind of came to a halt.
And what happened then? Were you taken into care and you were brought to the quiet place?
I stayed in the cubicle, and then they all went to the toilet was clear. So the toilet was actually locked in at that stage. And then I left, and then I think the main thing was they got everyone back to classes because they didn't want anyone to see me in the state I was in. So then I went then to the principal's office, and then another teacher came in. The teacher that was on reported what she had seen, and then she named individuals that she had seen. For around a half an hour, I just couldn't talk, and then I had the chat with the principal then. And then my mum was contacted, she came up to the school. But one thing that I remember the principal saying, because I'm not from Tipperary, so I was never on the sports team or
you were. This was a school in Tip, was it?
I didn't bring anything to the school. I think looking back on it now, I wasn't an all-star.
You weren't a hurler,
no,
footballer.
I wasn't a hurler. I was a blow-in. Literally moved down from Dublin, so came in, and I remember the principal said to my mum, and I was sitting there, and he was like, "You've put us in a little bit of an awkward situation, because these pupils that are involved, their parents on the board of management and they're part of the school. So what is it that you'd exactly like us to do?" So I'm sitting there after all this has happened, and I'm like, so I couldn't give it an absolute toss if they're on the board of management or who they are. So what do you want me to say back to that?
This is what happened.
This is what happened. And as the process went on, there was a lot of everyone constant kind of interviews back and forth, as in your principal speaking to you, and they were all brought in and everything. And the principal said to me, he was like, the one thing is, he was like, every time I bring one of them in, it's a different story or a different version of events off one of them. He was like, you're constant, you're clear. So they got suspended in the end, 5 of them. And for me, I think suspension is a joke, because these were in 6th year. When I was in 6th year, I actually had an interest in studying or trying to get a leaving cert. They were actually delighted. I think suspension, to some people that have no interest in school, they get to go home, they're freed up. They'd know even one of them, who was involved in previous instances, when I actually moved on to go to a different school, arrived at my 18th. And then I had my family there, and I think you go into a different version of yourself.
Why was he there? Why did he turn up?
Because I moved to a different school.
Why did he turn up?
He just rocked it. I had a bus there on the night, and he just jumped on the bus, and he was like, "Oh, if you don't mind me coming," and I just I remember dropping when I seen he was there. But for when it's your event or your 18th, or when you have family, you put on a different version of yourself when you're around family. If something was wrong with me and my mom was there, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm fine." So I'm fine. You're not gonna. I think you
that's the way. Yeah, that's grand. Yeah, and you try and block it out.
I hadn't seen him in a year. I had moved on. He had moved to the school, because I dreamed of this happy ever after somewhere else, but I didn't go far enough. I only went 15 minutes down the road.
So because of this was the toilet incident was the culmination of lots of bullying and taunting and grief, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was lots of other stuff went on. And you moved school because of it then?
Went down 15 minutes down the road, but it wasn't fair enough.
And are you saying that those that were involved in all of that got onto you over the weekend saying, we're sorry?
Even in the last 2 years, and people that were there, I got one message off one guy, and he was involved, and he was like, "I'm really sorry for everything I did to you when I was in school." He was like, "I grew up a lot when I was in college."
That's genuine, though, isn't it? I mean, I can kind of get that if somebody says that to you. Do you accept that forgiveness? He's looking for forgiveness.
Yeah, I do. I think I accept that part, and I think it took a lot for him to message.
I think
after 3 years of hell, I think it's a little bit too late.
Right. And the others were saying, get over it, is it?
The others I kind of contacted and say "Oh, we're so sorry for what we've done. So we always liked you in school." So
and why do you think you were picked on?
I think on reflection, I think I was very overweight, and then I think just from being in school and hearing other people that have been in school, sometimes when you're any bit different in school, so you can get that. And I was mostly, for me, it was a lot when I was my weight, and then I suppose the older I got, it was the name, the gay references would be kind of put at me. And I didn't think I was gay, or I didn't know that I was gay, or
you're okay with it now?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, but you didn't know it at the time.
I didn't know. I didn't the words that I was being called. I didn't even really know some of them. So I was because I was very it was just always me and my mom. I'd never knew this. You'd see it on telly or whatever, but I was always, that's not me. Sophie, and I thought it was sitting beside me. I was never going to entertain or to acknowledge or put myself in that bracket that I was.
Amazing, isn't it?
That was kind of...
Isn't that amazing? That other people would call you, refer to you, and put you in a box that you didn't even know you existed in. You actually believed you fancied girls. Yeah,
well, I tried to you just try to fit in. So I remember...
I wonder were you burying it and just not acknowledging it? No.
Sometimes I would used to think how can I just try to fit in? So I started...
You'd fit in.
I tried
by being the best version of yourself. Whether you're gay or straight, it's completely irrelevant.
Well, back then I thought by dressing like them. The tracksuits were a big thing, so I started with buying the tracksuits that they were wearing.
You wanted to fit in?
Yeah, just fit in. Because I remember at that time I just felt so out of place with the world. And then that's when I was they just don't belong in this world anymore.
And that led to all sorts of issues that eventually had you on a life support in a coma.
Yeah.
But how heavy did you get? Somebody said maybe 20 stone?
I got my heaviest. I was always yo-yos. I was always chubby as a child and everything. But I remember when I was living up in Belfast, they told me my weight had gone up to 20 stone, 4 pounds. I went to the Slimming Club one night.
You're about 8 stone now, I'd say.
Oh, 12.
You don't look it.
But no, and for me, that was
20 stone.
Yeah, because when you hear that, it's in a thing, and So and then I went to a doctor then, and he was like, "Yeah, you're in like a morbidly obese category, and it's really bad for your health." And you
20
should think,
stone in your
yeah,
teens is 30 stone by you get into
yeah.
your
And he was
30s.
telling me
You're
like, "Oh,
dead
like."
by 40.
But for me, like my best friend at that, I had no friends at that time. So my best friend was the chipper. My best friend, I turned to alcohol then. So like
Young?
no, I think this was I was legal when I started drinking, but when I started, I started. And I just know I feel like I was getting such an escape. For me, my best friend was food, and it was the one thing that was kind to me. It was the one thing that gave me satisfaction. And then in the evening, then like I was like, yeah, drink was giving me what I wanted.
Go away. How long did that go on?
It went on for 2 years.
And then you said, I have enough. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But did the fact that your
No,
mother...
the drinking started later in life. After kind of, I think that after like I took in the overdose, I think I developed like a relationship with drink. Before then, it was no drink. Before then, it was all food. It was always food. Was my thing.
Were you purging? Were you bulimic at that
Yeah.
stage? Yeah.
I was because I felt like you'd have to like say if something happened, like you'd go home, you'd splurge, and then you're conscious of getting heavier. So you think,
But in spite of all of that, you did get heavier.
Yeah, I just because like there's so much obviously doesn't come out of your system. Or
did you? And was this when you were still in secondary school, or had you gone to
no, I
work
was still
or
in
college?
secondary school. I had like a little part-time job like we all do when we're in school.
Yeah.
But like I was still in secondary school. But for me, I just feel like I was at home last week, and I feel like when I ever go home, I kind of like just go into a headspace. I actually met my ex-principal, and she couldn't even look me in the eye because I feel like now that she has kids my age, so I just feel like the fact that she walked past me and she's like, and should we like that, and she couldn't even like to acknowledge
But
me.
they did suspend 5 of them.
But I don't think it was good enough. I think at the end of the day, she was more worried about her board of management or about the parents being on that, as opposed to like showing true empathy, true emotion to me. At the end of the day, she is a mother. She had a heart of stone. And I feel like they when I stopped going to school then, like there's meant to be laws where you're only allowed to miss so many days.
Were you missing a lot?
I stopped going to school and my mum was never told. It's like at the end of like there's a roll call done.
Where were you going?
So the public bus used to come, like the school bus, because there was issues then on the school bus. So I was like,
more bullying?
Yeah, so I just was stopping myself from any situation that was causing me hurt. I stopped putting myself in that situation. So I was getting up every morning and putting the school uniform on, going to school. So in my mum's eyes, and then the school bus would come for 9:15. I would not get on the school bus, and the public bus would come at 9:30 to bring you into, say, Clonmel. And I used to go into Clonmel for the day and would maybe go to the library or like just wander, and then would get back on the later bus in the day and then go home, have a school, chat to my mum. So I was like lying to my mum.
How long did that go on?
It went on for 3 months before my mum was told. So I think that's a joke.
So eventually after 3 months the school said,
contacted my mum because everything.
Where's Graham? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And
what did she say to you?
Because at that particularly, I think I knew I was like, I had to like tell my mum because I was coming in for so long, and my mum had so much going on as well. And I just felt like that I wanted her because I had a cousin who was in the area and he was the cool kid. Like he was the perfect kind of all-star hurler, and I was kind of getting compared to him. And then there was me, very overweight, nothing going for me. So I kind of always was like, oh yeah, I'm grand, I'm loving life. So I'm delighted we moved to Tipperary. So everyone's so nice. So it kind of nearly make up things in my head.
You were making it all up. Yeah. You were living a lie.
And when you tell one lie, you have to tell, like I was told recently, you have to tell 10. And that was me for a long period of time.
Well, when you tell a lie, you got to tell lots of other ones to keep that lie going. Ultimately, you'll get caught out, though. You'll trip up on the lies. Yeah. But you know that now. But back then you were so young and you were so vulnerable and very isolated. You had no kind of group of peers who were your friends who you would go out with because you presented as effeminate and they felt that was attackable. Yeah. And of course, that's intolerable.
It's very different in Cork or it's very different in Dublin. Like you can kind of be who you are. And I don't feel like I put it out there very much as well. I kind of would be, no, I wouldn't be like, I don't have a banner stuff like I'm gay or anything. Or I feel like in like where I come from especially, it's very good. Like the reaction
is rural Ireland a little behind the curveball then, is it? Needs to catch up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%. And you're saying that from experience?
Yeah, being there. And so it's even now, like as the times have gone on in the world and the society and everything is changing, they're not changing.
I know. But hopefully they'll catch up.
Hopefully, like it's like
not everybody, but it's anyway. you're telling of your experience, so all we can deal with is what happened with you and your life and the experiences you went through. Okay, so you had enough, you couldn't take any more, and you decided that you didn't want to be in this world anymore, so you literally took an overdose.
I remember like just coming home when like, there was just a couple of things over that weekend. I think it's just when you're like going through something, you actually take it out on the ones closest to you. After like a while, like even though me and my mom always had a perfect relationship, the worst things got in school, or the worst things got on the bus, or the worst things got any kind of where a situation I was putting myself into. I like you kind of come home and like me and my mom were starting to argue, and it just felt like everything was like there was not everything was like a kind of fight or a dispute or a name call. And I remember my mom was in a bad car crash at the time, and there was just endless medication there, and she just got a prescription. And I just remember like I was like, yeah, this is me, this is the way to go. Like I was just like, no, there's no. I remember like there, and I for every tablet I took, I remember I was like bawling, crying, because I was like, this. You know, I gotta be better off. Though there's no one gonna be. So I feel like it is not right for the world. Or I was like, so there's so much wrong with me that it's just time to go.
You did that without thinking, though. I think this was not planned.
No, I think it
was an impromptu thing in the moment.
I knew for a while that like I never.
Or were you planning it?
There was kind of a quarry down beside me, like where I lived, and I remember my neighbour saying one day when I was walking the dogs, because we kept greyhounds, they were like, "Oh, if you ever landed inside there, you can count yourself. Good luck, you'd never get out of it." I remember one day after like when I didn't go to school, and I just went down there for the day. Like back then, it was like an iPod you'd have. And I was just coward. I couldn't jump in. So I felt like just taking the tablets was the easiest thing.
Do you have any memories of that period of your life in a coma? I often wonder.
I do. I remember like my mom.
Do you dream, or is there any awareness?
I feel you do. I feel like I still can. I remember like conversations that went on around me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? What kind of conversation?
It's just like my mom being in the state that she was, and like that's the biggest guilt that I'll hold until the day I actually do die, because like as much as I've got buddies in school and I've been a victim of it, she's been a victim of it, because I know if I don't text her back or I don't answer a call, or so she just goes in a bad state.
She panics.
Yeah.
So in the coma, although you could not move or communicate and were completely 100% unconscious, you could hear your mother distraught by the bed.
Yeah. You do. You take like I've spoke to like nurses since, and you do. It's stuff that's going on around you. Like, and they tell the family that there is a small chance that they might be able to pick up. Or
really, yeah. What were they saying about your survival?
I think when you wake up, actually, kind of like I remember like the doctors and the nurses they're kind of not abrupt, but like I remember saying to my mom, like, what's wrong with her? And she was like, well, Graham, so they have a lot to be dealing with people that are actually kind of sick, and so you've done what you've done, and like look how much of their time you've kind of taken up. So like at first you kind of
were suffering.
I know, but you get the time you kind of get that like, well, so there's someone down there that has maybe an illness like that's on, like, so it's cancer or whatever they're having, and here's you, like you're young.
Did you get the impression that you felt that you were a nuisance or a bed blocker or a time waste?
When I woke up, 100%. And then like the nurses, like there was one nurse in particular, she was amazing, but you do get the little bit of tough love when you first wake up, you do, because like you've taken up there, it's like, so you're young, they see like you've so like life is for live, like so you're so young, you should be enjoying life, what have you done this for, kind of thing. And that's the kind of, and then it's like straight away, like why did you do it? Like, is it because you're gay? Is it because you're overweight? And it's kind of like an instant interrogation.
But you survived. Were you happy that you were alive?
No, actually I couldn't, like at that particular time, no, I wasn't. And I knew, I felt like for me, I always seem to have a low, and then I kind of sense back. For me, when I woke up that day, like then, like initially I couldn't wait for my mum to go home that evening. I remember like, well, I just wanted all my family.
How long were you out? How long were you in a coma?
I went like a Wednesday morning, and then they brought me around on the Sunday night.
Okay, and you wanted what? Your mother to leave? Why?
I just wanted to, like, when I woke up, and I wanted to be on my own. I just didn't want anyone kind of around.
You were disappointed?
Yeah, I just wanted to be on my own. I just was like, I just couldn't. I was just like, oh shit, back to like, so I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what's this gonna be, a couple of days now back to school, and so facing the same shit again, kind of thing. I just was like, no. Like, I remember like at that particular evening, I was like, oh mom, I remember saying to my mom, like, you've a lot to do. I was like, just go. And like, obviously she wouldn't go, and I was like, just like, so, and then thankfully she went, and like, I remember just realizing that if I didn't, I knew I would have been back in again in a couple of weeks' time. And like for me, I looked at an escape then, and for me, the escape was moving to Cork.
Right. And when you were talking in the article, the Echo, you said that some friends would reach out to you to go out, but you couldn't go out because you were battling with your demons regarding
that
food.
This is like later on in life. Like,
is that right?
Yeah, later on. Like,
when you were trying to get a handle on the bulimia, trying to get a handle on your eating disorder and trying to get the weight down. When you moved to Cork, you met like-minded people, I'm sure, who were openly gay and proud of it.
No, I think I kept myself to myself for a while. Yeah, I think.
Did you go to college in Cork? Or?
I did, but I took that course just to get out of Tipperary. So it's like as much like my mom was great to put me through college, but like I let her down there because like in the first year I just wanted, it was for me, like even though Cork is very close to Tipperary, it was a lovely kind of thing to come down. It was like being in a different country when I first moved to Cork. No one knew me. I could owe anyone that I was meeting in college. Like, so like it was like I did veterinary nursing, so it was a lot of girls' based, and it was just kind of for once I just was like, so I was being invited to things, and I remember in school there'd be invitations going around, and everyone got an invitation except me. So to go from like that to like kind of people liking me because like the girls magnetite, like I have a lot of girlfriends, like they like the gays, they kind of make me feel safe or secure. So like, and then
you fit it in.
Yeah, and next of all, like I had loads of friends made in college, and then because of that, then stuff that I didn't do when I was younger, I was starting to do now when I was like 18.
But how did you handle the food issue? How did you get your head around that?
Food has just always been an issue. I don't know when enough is enough, really. Even now, that's kind of something I struggle with.
But how'd you get it down?
I just so when I at my heaviest, there was like a weight loss shake company, and like there was a salesperson for that, and they asked me to do the shakes, and I got down to like 17 stone on that, and I was 17 stone for ages. And then, as soon as I kind of came on to the gay life, then realised, like, so it's different. They're big into their appearance, and so, like, the clothes and everything like that. So I was like, kind of just wanted to kind of fit in more. So I did.
Now that I'm officially in the club.
Yeah.
And that in itself then gave you the motivation, because you no longer had a lot of you'll always have the emotional baggage of your past. I accept that. But it wasn't the trauma that you were living every day was gone now. So therefore you didn't need the crutch, was it? Or you felt that you didn't have to binge as an excuse for a crappy life when your life was getting better?
I think I came to a stage where I wanted to get down the weight, but I also wanted to eat. So that's when
join the club, pal.
Like I think you just get into, like I still wanted to make a deal from 4-star, but I also wanted to wear nice clothes, and so that's where you kind of get that's where the bulimia came from.
Yeah. It's gone now, is it? Or do you have to battle and keep an eye on it all of the time?
I don't think it's fully gone ever. I think maybe I might be at like twice a year now. But I suppose to go from like 4 times a day to twice a year, I think, and hopefully there will come a year where it never happens, and I'd be delighted if it did. But
and how's life now? What are you doing with yourself
now?
Great.
I'm happy. And the one thing I think I'm blessed that I have such a good group of friends. They're my family, really. I have a great bunch of friends. So I'm getting married in August.
Brilliant.
I've started doing.
Did you do nursing, and are you nursing now?
No, I did. I studied business in the end, and then I was teaching grinds then for a while, because then just to make a few bob, and
life is good. You got a good lifestyle. Getting married.
Yeah, I get married now 10th of August. So excited for that.
And your mom, how is she?
She's good. She's good. She had I think reading the article and that, I kind of. She has been upsetting for her, and it's been an emotional weekend, but I think she's good. She's
far from good. She's brilliant. She's an incredible woman. I mean, she's the woman that reared you, stood by you.
Yeah, I think it was just her as well. So it's always just been me and my mom. So yeah, she has done great.
That's kind of nice as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she must have worked very, very hard to put you through college and everything.
She did, and I think I didn't. It's only now I really kind of realize how much money I wasted in the first year when. Because I only came down for an escape where she wanted me to come down and be academic and live, and so I kind of do the.
But you would pay her back though with love and kindness. Yeah. Are you helping other people who?
I always kind of hid the fact that I was from Tipperary, and then I started doing a few bits on social media, and then I do a show as well on Insu Media. And then people have started to contact me to be like, I got one mother who contacted me, and she's I'm kind of worried about my son, and if someone messages me in their 20s or 30s, I can reply instantly. But when someone messages you and it's in relation to their child who's younger, or when they message you directly, it can take me like a half an hour to an hour to respond, because I want to make sure what I'm it's it's a very different response, and you can.
It's not a one-to-one.
Yeah, it is totally different.
Yeah, but would you be inclined to hone in perhaps on people who are young and gay in country towns and villages?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Like I wouldn't wish what I went through. Where like I'd love to like educate the school that I was in. So I feel like because like there's people that's similar to myself. I've been in that school since, and there's nothing kind of. It was a presentation convent, so there's nothing there. Like maybe it was a public school or there was something.
Well, a young gay boy in a school that's very much probably sports orientated.
Yeah,
you're on the back foot straight away there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you're glad to be alive now?
Oh yeah, 100%. And like I think life is for living. Like I do lots of traveling, and so I love doing stuff with my friends, and so I have a lot of traveling coming up in the next few months. So like so life is short. So I'm gonna live every day to the max.
And if people want to get in touch with you following this conversation, how can they do so?
Graham Craig Ruth. I just on Facebook.
Okay, can you write that up, guys? And are you on Instagram and all that kind of thing?
It's was in social media big. It's actually my friends have I was always just like the basic Facebook, and like they've kind of introduced me now to everything in the last couple of months.
Okay, well you could be an inspiration to people. You probably know that, but there's probably people listening here, probably parents.
That's like for me, it's like I know it's like for
who might have sons and daughters struggling. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I do appreciate it, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thanks.
Wonderful guy. That's Graham Craig Ruth, and